welcome to this session on network security and forensics. In the past few modules, we had seen how to capture packets and what are all the types of analysis that one can do after capturing the packets. What we are going to do right now is to look at a case study and see how forensics can be approached after we capture the data packets. Now, there are many ways to solve a problem. So, what we will do is that we are not going to look into details of all the ways, but overall let us tell how some cases are investigated. Now, there is actually a very good website which is called forensiccontest.com. I suggest that you participate in many of the forensic contests that these people are providing. If possible, actually take the cases that are already existing and see how people have solved the problems. Now, we will take one such problem and then we will analyze what has happened using the evidence file that is being given in that website. Now, of course, these problems are just toy problems. The real analysis will involve much more aspects, but then for this course we will essentially look at how the problems are approached. Okay. After that, finally it depends on your intelligence and your skill on how to solve the problems. We will be discussing two ways to solve the problem. One is using Wireshark, the other is given in that website, okay, the puzzle website, okay, where they have developed tools to understand the protocols and then extract information based on the tools. You have to install some of those tools because in the demo that we are going to show, we have already installed those tools. So, it should straight away work, but in general, okay, sometimes these tools may not be available. So, you might have to install them separately, that itself is a separate task, but then I would suggest that you go ahead and practice installing the tools also. Okay, so, let us come to the case study. There is a company which suspects that one of its employees is a secret agent working for their competitor, and this company does some food items. Okay. So, there is a secret recipe, okay, that the company is worried might have exchanged hands. So, what has happened is some security staff have actually found out that there could be some suspicious activity and the particular employee could have sent the data out to its competitor. So, what they do is they just have captured, okay, the data that was traversed over a medium, okay, probably a wireless network, and they know the IP address of the computer in which this person has worked. Okay. So, the question is we have a packet capture of the activity, but we can't figure out what is going on. So, can you help? So, this is a puzzle and you can see similar kinds of puzzles in this website. So, this is one of the puzzles, but there are about 7 or 8 puzzles that they have given, and there are more than one solution or more than one approach for solving the problem. So, we would suggest that you go through this whole website and see how people have solved the problems. So, how do we solve this problem? Okay. So, let us work out by some way. So, the first information that we have is the machine's IP address, and the second information that we are given is the PCAP packet capture. Okay. And using these two, let us see how this problem is solved. So, therefore, what we do is we just invoke Wireshark and then we actually find out the evidence file. Okay. So, this evidence file is actually given in the website. So, you could download this evidence file and then you can use Wireshark and then open this evidence file after you have downloaded it. Okay. I think we discussed it in one of the previous sessions on how to do it. So, please go ahead to file and then open it. Okay. And once you open, you get these screens. Now, the first thing that we can do is that okay, we have got the IP address of the employee or the suspected employee. Okay. So, one of the things that we can do is that, so as I told you, you can use either Wireshark or T-Shark to find out what is going on. Okay. So, here is an example. Okay. So, we are using T-Shark. Okay. What we are trying to do is that we are trying to find out the data that has gone from the source address 192.168.1.58, okay, 158. So, then what we are trying to see is we are trying to identify to which are all the destinations to which this person has connected. Okay. So, it will just tell you that to which destination this person has connected and how many packets to that particular destination. And if you remember, in information security 3 course, we had talked about this command called sort and this command called unique, okay, and minus is the count. So, what it tells you is that you would have a lot of data that has come out of 192.168.1.158, but then what we do is we try to filter out what is the unique places to which this communication has taken place, and you see that with 192.168.1.10 there was only one packet that had gone through, but what is of interest is 192.168.1.159 and 64.12.24.50. One of the things that you can see is that the highest information has or data exchange has happened between 64.12.24.50 and the user 182.168.1.158. Now, one of the things we can try to do is you see that it actually seems to be an external IP address, okay, because the local IP address was somewhere around 192.168 and something like that, and above 220 above this, I mean the second one was some multicast address. So, therefore, what we can look at is that okay, fine, there seems to be one suspicious activity for which there is lot of data that has gone through. Okay. So, what we do right now is we try to identify who this 64.12.24.50 is. So, there are many tools you can use to find out who is this external IP address. So, for example, in this case we know that it is 64.12.24.50, and what we can do is that we can actually use NS lookup or we can use a command called whois. So, let us take a look at the usage of the command whois, and then with whois we are going to type 64.12.24.50. Now, you see that it tries to tell you who is the person or the institution which has this address, okay, and we are able to see that this belongs to AOL, that is America Online. So, one thing is now clear, okay, this person has tried to contact an external location and done some activity. So, that is what we can understand from these two tools. Okay. So, if you remember, the first time that we did was we actually used this T-Shark and then identified what were the packets, and second we found out that there was one suspicious IP address that was not that of the institute or the current company. Therefore, we looked at what that IP address is and it seems to be an American Online. Okay. Now, we will come back to Wireshark, and what we can do is you could actually sort according to destination or sort according to source. I think we have seen all those things. So, what we will do is we will go ahead and use Wireshark and then try to see some of the suspicious packets that have got transferred between these two people. Okay. So, we will sort according to destination and then we will see that okay, we will try to find out where this particular destination is. So, which was the 64.12.24.50 address, and then once we go into this, we seem to be very lucky here. So, what has happened is that if you look at packet number 25 and then you just press this, okay, and there is something interesting that has come here. So, if you look at this, so it tells you that there is some data that is there. Okay. So, if you look at this, so what we are seeing is that we are able to see if we actually take the packets from 192.168.1.158 to 64.12.24.50, and especially if you are able to track this SSL data, you are able to see something very fishy. Okay. So, you see that there is a string where says here is the secret recipe, I just downloaded it from the file server, just copy to a thumb drive and you are good to go. Okay. So, if you look at this just by now we do not have any idea of who has sent this, but we just know that this machine, okay, from machine 192.168.1.158 and 64.12.24.50, okay, the data has gone. Okay, but one of the things you should know is I could always argue that I did not send the secret data. Okay. So, I was just having a chat and this is something else. So, in order to give a foolproof solution, what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to analyze, establish what protocols these people have used, establish the chat session, and then establish whether a file transfer has happened and establish whether the other person has acknowledged. So, all these activities have to be done, okay, in case of forensics. Of course, we will not look at all these activities, we will just give you a brief of how these activities are done. So, in this case, for example, what I can do is I can always start looking at SSL and then continuation data. So, let me now go ahead and do this. I look at SSL and continuation data, and there is something that occurs again and again and again, which is SEC 55.8U SER1. Okay. So, if you look at the continuation data, I can just go and look at the continuation data. Even here you have this SEC 55.8U SER1. Okay. Even here you are able to see this. Okay. Of course, there are other junk information. Okay. We will look at what are the information we want. So, we are going packet by packet. Okay. So, and this is very interesting. So, it tells you that there is SEC 558U SER1 and then there is something called as recipe.doc. So, if you look at the last line, you see that there is a recipe called docx that has come in between the conversation. We still do not know whether it was from the other side or this side. So, one of the things you could guess is that it is 192.168.1.158 to 64.12.24.50. Okay, the data has gone from here to there. So, that is the correct guess that we can do right now. Okay, so, let us look at some more packets. So, we will just go one by one. Okay, I mean we will just move around those packets and then continuation data, we will see whether anything else interesting comes to us. Okay, and here is something much more interesting. So, here it says see you in Hawaii. Okay. So, this is something much more, one more clue that we are getting. So, one of the things that we can understand from here is if we can capture this SSL based data, we could be able to, we could find out what is the conversation that has happened between these two people. Okay. So, that is one clue that we have right now. So, we look at other application data also. Okay. So, one of the things that you can do is see with Wireshark, you could also trace conversations. Okay. You can trace TCP conversations, you can say SSL conversations, in the sense you can analyze the flows. Okay. So, you can follow the flows. I think we saw examples of that in the previous session on Wireshark. Okay. So, one of the things that we can now frame, I mean, so if you look at this, we can get some more hunches from whatever we have seen. Okay. So, one, this person has said that we can see you in Hawaii, and here is something that I have sent, and then there is a document that has gone. So, in this, so now slowly you are putting forth what are all the things that has happened. Okay. And one of the things if you look at this in one of the continuation data, we can also see that can't wait to sell it in eBay. So this is the next one that we have seen. So slowly if you look at this, we are trying to converge on what has happened. So that is the idea by doing this kind of, so we can do a packet analysis, we can do a flow analysis, and probably if you are to establish that this is the conversation that has happened, you are also got to do protocol analysis. So here what we are now on this protocol may be a known protocol or an unknown protocol. So if it is a known protocol, then there should be support in Wireshark, so that we can trace the conversations and get the protocol. If not, probably we will have to apply, I mean read the protocol, write some scripts, etc., and then go ahead and find out what has exactly happened. So it's a long driven process, okay. It's not going to be easy. I mean even for the simple problem, if you look at this, the solution, you would have to work for more than 2 or 3 days to identify all these data together. Since it's a part of a lecture, we are moving quite fast on that, this is thing can be done, that can be done, etc. Anyways, so now let us look at how we can follow the stream. So if you look at this, one of the things that we have done is we have taken one packet, SSL packet, and said that okay, we will follow the stream. That means it will try to capture all the related packets, and here is something good that we have come across. So here it says here is a secret recipe, I just downloaded it from the file server, just copy it to thumb drive and you are good to go, okay. And then there after this there is something like recipe.docx you see, and then there is another thing that comes. So if you look at this, I can't wait it to sell it in eBay, and then there is this see you in Hawaii. So and if you look at the color code, you can see that the red color is something that has happened between the current person in 192.168.1.158 to the person now. So if you look at this now, slowly we are trying to establish that there is a conversation that has happened between these two people, and this conversation actually tells you that some file has got transferred. So one of the things that we could do now, right now, is after identifying that yes, some kind of conversation has happened, now it is for us to establish that what is the document and what is the contents of the document, because I could say yes, I exchanged a document that it was not this kind of recipe. So all these things can be done, okay, to avoid any legal hassle, okay. So therefore what we will do is that we will see, now for the time being we have just found out that we are able to identify that a conversation has happened and some document has got transferred. We know the name of the document, and probably we will try to identify what type of document it is. So every file has got a particular signature using which you can identify, okay, what type of file it is. So we will have to get this information from the current dump that we have, okay. So what we could do is definitely that file would have got transferred from here to the other side, okay. So what I mean hopefully, so what we will do is we will have to see whether such a file transfer has happened, and if, and in order to find out what file transfer has happened, we need to identify what protocol it is using, okay. Therefore one of the suspects part is that yes, have I used AIM, okay, AOL instant messenger for doing this conversation, okay. So how does one identify it? So if you look at this, instead of going through Wireshark also, we can also look at strings command, okay. So what we can do is we can actually do a string So one of the things that we can do is see, you could either go into Wireshark and then try to identify what protocol they have used, or usually this OFT is protocol is used in America, AOL instant messenger. Therefore what we can do is you can actually go into the pcap file and then search for this OFT2. So either you go through the data crucially one by one, or you write a small shell script to identify what this protocol is. So, okay, once I know that it is OFT protocol, yes, then I know that yes, this is a proprietary protocol and there are documentation on the web on how this protocol works. So, the other way, one of the ways we can do it is, now that I know this is the protocol that is used, then I can go take the dump, okay, of the connection, okay, between the source and the destination. So, this person would have said that okay, here is a document. So, I would go and then type the enter, press the document, I mean press the enter key, the document gets transmitted, you find out the start point of the document, you find the ends point of the document. Then what you do is you go ahead and cut these hex bytes and then dump it into a file and then open it accordingly. So, you will be able to get the information about the document. Okay. So, what we will do in the next session is that we will try to make use of, I mean the solution, next session the solution given by the person who won the first prize was very elegant, where he has written script using Perl, okay, and he has actually decrypted the protocol, and therefore, which just by using 5 or 6 commands he is able to actually get back the file and actually print the file. Now, this process of using of going through Wireshark and then cutting and then finding out the hex editor and then cutting and pasting from hex editor to a document, etc., and then changing that document and then getting it back, and all those things is a tedious process, and the whole process has been automated, and so that solution is very elegant. We will see that solution in the next module. Thank you very much.